Hardcore Pawn has had some pretty wild transactions. Today I'm going to cover 8 crazy customers Hardcore Pawn had to deal with. Let's get into the video. Number 1, a $1,900 Chevrolet. The driver had bought a new $1,900 vehicle without thought about the expense of its upkeep and repairs. The owner wanted to sell the automobile and earned a decent offer of $14,500. It was by far the biggest transaction they ever had completed. The driver was crazy enough to sell such an expensive car for a price that was not even close to its real value. Was he under the influence, just dumb, or taking revenge on someone? We will never know. Number 2, the party bus. A salesman came to the store to sell his 38-passenger bus, which he had turned into a party bus for bachelors. In order to afford a bigger and more expensive bus, the purchaser chose to sell his existing bus rather than buying a new one. Les and Ashley were very unenthusiastic about the van they received for their class because it was an incredibly rare model. However, the vendor was not able to drop his price to $15,000, so Les and Ashley opted to turn the oldest trick in the book, and it succeeded, as they purchased the bus for just $8,000. This was no doubt the craziest deals in Hardcore Pawn history. Number 3, $2,800 pair of guitars. While you think it's a huge sum, if you see the episode, you would be shocked. This episode has become one of the most costly acquisitions that the consumer did not intend to reconsider the decision. In this heartwarming chapter, a family came in to sell their 2 instruments in order to cover their expenses and get enough funds to purchase a new one. The family was so much in need that they rejected Seth's bid of $1,800, but then they tested the instruments and figured out they were of much better worth, so they called the family back and paid them the remainder of the valuation of the guitars. Number 4, the Burmese Ruby. The buyer took her dead grandmother's gemstones so that she could convert them into cash to compensate for her burial. However, though Crystal was unaware of this reality, the gem in question was a rare Burmese ruby priced at $10,000. After being given a detailed review by the gem shop specialist, the customer left with a significant piece of jewelry. Number 5, $67,000 Ford Mustang. This was the best investment they made. A pair pulled in their incredibly unusual 2009 Mustang for auction. As there were just 45 of these styles of onesies, it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Even though the car was worth at least $80,000, but just paying $67,000 for it, both Seth and Les purchased it. There was a big deal that was targeted by the mob. Number 6, Maserati Rick. A young man strolled into the store to sell a piece of rock-encrusted jewelry his father had sent him. He wished to obtain a small amount of money in exchange for selling this piece, and provided that the sum was $7,000, he was similarly disappointed, though, when the shop owners decided to pay $1,000 for his artwork. After a great deal of bargaining, the two were able to reach a reasonable price. Number 7, White Breckland. Les was willing to buy the car since it had traveled 29,500 miles by this time. Unfortunately, the car needed substantial maintenance, including a fresh collection of tires, paint, and an exhaust system. Les advised his client that the value for the goods he was offering was significantly high, and $30,000 was way too much. Also, he claimed that he had other more convincing points as well. The seller of the Breckland bid $10,000 until he would consent to sell for $7,000. Number 8, Muhammad Ali Collectibles. It is normal for people to gather items sent on a miss with their idol, sometimes being either the person deceased or alive. The key aim of the display was to demonstrate how the thing interacts with their hero, and when their hero happens to suffer, their property suddenly rises in value near every time. An incident occurred when the Hardcore Pawn Shop was provided with Muhammad Ali memorabilia, which consisted of 2 books which held hundreds of unpublished pictures and details regarding the boxer. The Hardcore Pawn Shop owners ended up selling the 2 versions of the book and collecting interest on them for months, and after a few months had passed, the buyer who had purchased the book quit paying the interest, culminating in the Gold family having each of the books with the extra interest the customer had charged on a monthly basis. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.